Hello Finxters, and today this is a continuation of our look into the Pandas Plotting Module library, and the function we'll be looking at today is the Bootstrap _plot function. And so the topics we're going to cover in the video, we'll understand a little of Bootstrap sampling, what it is and when you would use it in gathering data for statistical analysis and understanding. And we will be using the Pandas Plotting Module, so we'll chat quickly on the different functions in that library, and then obviously dive in and look specifically at the Bootstrap Plot function and the syntax that we use to create the plots. We'll be using matplotlib pyplot to output the plots, and we will then create a data frame from a data set we wish to analyze, and then we'll just use the Bootstrap plot to sample our data, and that creates a mean, median and mid-range plot. So it's a very simple function to use, not so simple in the background, but it abstracts a lot of information into a very usable format. So what is bootstrapping and what is a bootstrap plot and why would we use it? So if you imagine that you have a very large population that you wish to sample and you're constrained in practical terms from measuring the entire population, and the example I used in the article is, can you imagine a football game where there may be 100,000 people at the game, and you want to get the ages or average ages of the people at the football game. You just wouldn't be stopping every single person coming into the game to ask their age. You'd never get the game started. People would get angry. So what you would do is you would take subsamples of that data. And the what I suggested for the game was you might have 4 gates, and you might sample 5 people at each gate as they're passing through, while all the rest carry on through, and then you just keep repeating that. So each gate might do 50 samples of 5, which gives you a considerable number of subsamples that you can use to carry out your analysis, and you've got a reasonable level of confidence that the information you get would be representative of the main data, which is everybody in the stadium. And then a Bootstrap plot allows you to sample a very large data set, and so you can select the sample size. I was talking about 5 people and their ages, but you select a sample size and then the number of samples you wish to take, and you'll see us do that shortly on a data set that I've downloaded. You'll output a series of plots, and that will give you the data mean, the median and the mid-range. So the tools we're going to use to do this are, of course, Python and Pandas, which is the data analysis module for Python. And so our use today is in statistics, but it's widely used through many different fields. And matplotlib, which is a data visualization tool library. And it has a whole lot of functions in there that allow you to configure a plot for output. And we'll be using a very minor part of that today. So the Pandas Plotting Module, that has 12 functions. We're using one of them, the Bootstrap Plot function, but here's the 12, and it's worth having a look through this. There's some really interesting stuff in here. So far we've looked at Andrews curves and autocorrelation plot. This is the third in the series, Bootstrap Plot, and we'll be running through the rest of these over time, so stay with us on that. And the Bootstrap plot function is, as I say, very simple to use, in that the syntax simply requires that you input the series that you wish to study. You have the figure parameter that you can use, and that can be used to change the plotting. So instead of using the default parameters from the Bootstrap plot, you can use the matplotlib.figure.figure library to create different outputs. We won't be doing that today. You can set the size of the sample you want, and it defaults to 50, but you can set whatever you wish, and the number of samples you wish. And then the last one is keywords for the output to matplotlib for the plotting method. We will simply use that to change the color today so it's a little more easy to see on the screen. And the output of that is a series of 6 graphs, as you'll see here, each one giving you the mean, the median, and the mid-range for you to then analyze and understand your data further. It will also give you confidence levels. So let's go and do some coding and see how this works. So as I said, very simple. This is a one screenshot. We don't have to work up to this at all. We're simply going to import pandas with the alias of pd. We'll import matplotlib.pyplot with the alias of plt. And then we're going to make a data frame from our CSV file. And so we're going to pandas.read_CSV, and this is the data frame that we're going to use. And I will just bring that up now to show you what that consists of. There is a link to this in the article if you wish to use this exact data frame, or you can obviously substitute your own. And this is the CSV file we'll be using. And so this forms part of quite a large data set. It's from a Brazilian store which has multiple marketplaces, multiple stores, and it has considerable amount of data. It's something like 110,000 transactions from that store, all anonymized. I'm just using the payment subsection. There's a lot more information in there if you wish to use it for other things, and we're going to be focusing on the payment value column. So the value of each transaction to try and get an understanding of the mean, the median, and the mid-range of that. And we'll be selecting a sample size and the number of samples in our code. So let's head back to the code. So having created the data frame with this line of code and passed it to df, we'll then use the pandas plotting.bootstrap_plot. We'll pass df to it, and we'll have to specify the column that we're actually going to be working in with the square bracket notation and the string payment value, which is the column you saw just now. We will not be using the figure parameter, as I said. We will ask for a size of 200 per sample, and we want 500 samples to be taken. And then under the ** keywords parameter, we're asking for a color teal, just to make it easier to see on the screen. So bootstrap_plot function will then pass that plot to x, and we will then simply allow matplotlib.pyplot to show us that plot. So let's do that now. And the steam will get through to the valves on my clunky old machine very shortly, and there we have a plot which I will increase in size so that you can get a better understanding of what we've got here. And so resembles obviously what you saw previously, giving us the mean, the median, and the mid-range of the Brazilian store payment values, and obviously confidence levels top and bottom. So if you're going to be doing analysis on a very large data set, this is a really easy way of getting something which is hopefully quite representative of the underlying population. So the standard definition of what it does is sampling distribution for the statistic, identify the 95% confidence level, and understand the statistic having a sampling distribution with the smallest variance, which is great jargon, but it's a really simple way to analyze a very large population. So let's head back to the slides. So as I said, it's a very quick coding example today, where we discuss Bootstrap sampling for statistics, and it's simply where you wish to know information on a population where you are practically or physically constrained from accessing all of that information. So you sample the population and take subsamples and take multiple ones of those, which allows you to then draw some conclusions on the underlying population from which they're taken. We quickly showed you the Pandas Plotting Module library and the various functions in there. Introduced the Bootstrap Plot function syntax, which is very simple, and then we created a data frame and we used the Bootstrap Plot function to sample our data and create our plots. We output the mean, the median, and the mid-range plots using matplotlib.pyplot. So there we have it, the bootstrap_plot function. I hope that was helpful to you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks very much.